Hello, friends. So, originally, this was going to be a message that was maybe a little bit lower in vibration, um, centered around monitoring spirits and kind of the havoc that they can wreak on our lives sometimes. Like when you get an energy that you know isn't yours. Maybe you're a little bit more clumsy than you should be. Maybe you're dropping things. Maybe everything's just not going right. And you know that that's not your energy. Okay. So originally I was being called to kind of share, huh? I was being called to share, a brief history of what I know about monitoring spirits. And I don't know much. I don't really know anything at all. I just know that they are annoying and they are real. Okay. I didn't start learning about the really unseen dark stuff until I went to jail. And just by coinkydink, one of my cellmates happened to have come out of not come out of, be actively involved in a gang stalking situation. There's that crow again. Crazy. Was in a gang stalking situation. And she would talk about the spiritual warfare and show us the marks on her body that were otherworldly and just fill us in on her experience. Okay. One of my other bunkies knows about Santeria. So it was a very educational experience on what goes bump in the night, for those 30 days. Now we can sit here and we can know that these things exist, but we're not going to give them power, right? We're always just going to go ahead and revoke and rebuke in the name of the Lord because we don't have time to entertain that dusty energy. And also, like, shame on you. Go get a life, right? So while I'm sitting here and I'm just dropping my things and spilling my juice and having a real klutzy kind of morning, it was really easy to get irritated and be like, wow, that's annoying, and let that kind of more negative state of emotion consume me for a minute, right? And then I thought, maybe not. Maybe not make a message. And then I walked into my kitchen, and I have someone in my life who likes to leave me little surprises. That's their love language. Little surprises, little inspirational things, trinkets, which is funny because that's how I like to communicate upstairs too. Um, the signs, the synchronicities, whoa, um, and just other little things. Okay, so this person knows that that is something that I enjoy because it's very heartfelt. And I know that the intention is coming from their heart. It's pure love. And who doesn't like finding a little twinkle twinkle of pure love hiding around in plain sight, right? So I've had this recipe on my fridge to make pickled Brussels sprouts. And, you know, didn't think anything of it, left it there. So as I'm getting ready today and things are just getting knocked over and spilling, and the second I go to record this, there's a bunch of noise, the AC kicks on, and I'm like, huh, right. The point is there's a lot of distractions, but there's a lot of miracles too. So what I didn't notice this whole time that the recipe had been up there was that there was a note taped behind it. So while I'm while I'm getting ready and I come out and I'm like monitoring spirits this, monitoring spirits that, I'm like, hold on, miracle on the floor, what? So it's going to be a multifaceted message here that kind of covers monitoring spirits, but also messages because they do sometimes go hand in hand. So the recipe card was holding this card behind it. And I know you guys can't see it, so we're going to do a little group activity. We're going to read it together, okay? Because, wowee, guys. I whispered in your ear today. You thought it was the breeze. So I tumbled through a feather and landed at your feet. I sang a happy little song from high up in a tree. But something else distracted you, and you missed my melody. I thought I must shine brighter, so I painted you a sky. I sent a double rainbow and a pretty butterfly. Each time I tried to speak to you, you did not notice me, but I was there between each prayer and grief-filled memory. So, when your shoulders feel the sun, or the flowers begin to sway, when the light between the trees bends round to start another day, just turn around and take a breath. Inhale what you can't see. Look for the things that move you and know that it was me. So that's pretty fucking cool, I think, right? Um, and also a great representation of sometimes the things that don't deserve our attention, like the dirty, dusty, monitoring spirits, not great, might distract us from the things that do, like the recipe card and the hidden message behind it. And sometimes, as much as we want to see past the fog, it's a little hard. It's a little hard to pull us out of that spiritual soup and get right in our headspace and not be so distracted, right? Sometimes the encouragement, the encouragement that we need is hiding in plain sight. Sometimes there's divine messages all around, just waiting to be found. But sometimes maybe we're just a little too busy focusing on the things that don't deserve our attention to recognize what's in front of us. I also have been seeing this mockingbird going after a crow for a few weeks now. And it's interesting to me. And I know why it's happening, right? It's spring. They're having babies. They're protecting their nest. However, I can't just look at things like we're skimming the surface anymore, buddies. I look at things and have to unpack them. I have to make an entire Da Vinci Code scavenger hunt out of what I'm seeing, why I'm seeing, and where I'm seeing it. The people, the places, the things, the mouthpieces of the universe. You can't ignore those. I mean, you can. It's either going to get louder or it's going to stop, and that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is God going radio silent, is no longer hearing an echo when I call out. If we want to be really vulnerable, that's my biggest fear. Radio silence with the man upstairs, because that means that I've missed so many opportunities and so many signs and so many ways to get out that they're no longer trying. And that's the one person that believes in us no matter what. He made us. How can you not believe in us? How can you not believe in something that you make of your own flesh and blood? Yeah, that's a message for another time. Clearly got all jammed up in the throat shaky there real quick because that's a message for another time. Anyway, circling back, the crow and the mockingbird. So we know the obvious reasons why they're doing it. but there's also like some hidden deeper layers. You know, the universe is like an onion or like an ogre. There's layers, right? So, what does that really kind of like mean? And I think a lot of people may resonate with this, they may not. Whatever. To me, I'm looking at that as a sign of tenacious courage, as a sign of persistence in the face of challenges. I look at that as protecting your peace and your family, even if the opponent outweighs you. Maybe they're bigger, maybe they're better, maybe they're smarter, right? But as long as you have that moxie and know where you stand, you are able to tackle those obstacles. The mockingbird doesn't say, well, I'm just a tiny little bird. Like that crow's a bully, but I'm just a little bird. What am I going to do? The mockingbird says, I'm a little bird and you're not going to attack me or my family. I'm a little bird and I have such faith in my mission, in my ability to persevere, that I'm going to do it. Even if it looks silly, even if it looks like you are out of your league, right? Underdog is just under God. Yeah. There's a lot to be said about that, about the endurance and the studying of the mind and everything that goes with it. Because at the end of the day, they don't stop dive bombing the crow. They do it again and again and again and again. And that's kind of the message there. I'm not really going to go on and on about that. But look up, start seeing things around you, start wondering what they mean. One of the biggest disservices that we can do ourselves is taking away our wonder, our whimsy, our curiosity, our absolute imagination for creation. Why are things like that? Why did that sign fall in your lap? Why did this poem land right when I needed it? Hidden in plain sight, behind a recipe, a silly recipe, right? Frog balls, pickled Brussels sprouts, and hiding right behind. Unfortunately, I am one of those see the signs and synchronicities and everything kind of girlies. And maybe someone else needs to hear that too. That you should follow the whimsy and get curious, especially when you're up against things and you need a little bit of encouragement. It's always there. You might have to dig for it though.